Nigerian Senate has passed the landmark bill prescribing life imprisonment for anyone found guilty of sexually defiling minors, signaling a tougher legal stance against child sexual abuse. The bill stipulates that any man or woman who engages in sexual intercourse with a child will face life imprisonment without the option of a fine. Presenting the motion, Senator Adams Oshomole Edo North emphasized that child defilement should be treated more severely than rape due to the vulnerability of the victims. A minor is a child who cannot give consent and whose life can be permanently damaged by such act. Those involved in defilement deserve a severe punishment. Oshomole said initially proposing a 20-year jail term without an option of a fine. However, a majority of senators rejected this proposal in favor of a harsher penalty. Senator Mohammed Adamu Aliero, Kebbi Central, moved on an amendment recommending life imprisonment as a punishment for anyone, male or female, found guilty of defiling a minor. I propose that the punishment for defilement of minors be imprisonment regardless of the offender's gender, Aliero said. The Senate adopted Aliero's amendment, officially passing the bill prescribing life imprisonment for child defilers and pedophiles. Lawmakers say the new measure aims to strengthen child protection, serve as a strong deterrent, and ensure justice for young victims of sexual violence. The bill is expected to be transmitted to the House of Representatives for concurrence before it proceeds to the President for assent. One thing I want to find out from you, Ehi, when you look at this report is this. What is the legal age? What is a child to you by this definition of this particular law? What is a child? Do you think as a people we've been able to define fully, concretely, what a child is? And now I'll give you a little bit of reference. The Child Rights Act of 2003 did say a child is anyone below the age of 18. Do you think we have been able to define and enforce what a child is in relation to this new bill? Let's talk about it.
Okay, I'd like to go based on established principles and legal laws.
Okay.
Legally, the legal age for a child or a minor is from at least from 18 below. Okay. 18 below, known as a child. Then 18 and above, you've entered into adulthood, and you're now an adult, that you're responsible for the consequences of your actions, right, whatever action you choose to take at that point. So, but if you speak to a lot of people, there are parents, a kid, someone that's up to 25, they're still their baby, still their child. Absolutely. So, it's still their baby. They still see that person as their child. They're that young kid. So legally, the age of consent is 18 because that age is accepted. Okay, when you're 18, you're responsible for bearing the consequences, whatever choice you choose to make or not make. So, but in line with this bill, I feel it's a welcome development. Right. And the fact that the Senate went ahead to reject Adams Oshomole's proposal, where he wanted it to be 20 years, now moving it to life imprisonment, just goes to show the gravity of the situation. It goes to show just how serious the conversation is, the topic is. Because like you said, this is something that can ruin the life of a child at an age where they are not able to give consent. Right.
Now, personally, I do agree with you, especially when you mentioned that this is a very good bill that has been passed, because I would say I've had the opportunity of interviewing a 5-year-old that was abused. So it wasn't she doesn't know what rape is, but she knows what pain is, right? And when I saw this bill and went through, the tenets of the bill, I was excited. But a little bit of a drag back. The reason I asked you what a child was according to the Nigerian law is to say this. Why is it that in certain traditions and in certain customs, children, and in certain religions, children under 12 will still be given out for marriage. Do you think, like we're talking about the laws previously, do you think that we should, as a people and as Nigerians, enforce the age of consent at 18, enforcing it to the letter? Not that many of the arguments I saw online when I, did go through this report and just wanted to take on people's thoughts. The argument is this: this is for a selected Nigerian, a few selected Nigerians. There are still other Nigerians that, based off of religion, based off of tradition, will still go ahead and marry children that are 11 years, that are 12 years old, and they'll still come out to the public and will say nothing is going to happen. Now, recently, a girl killed herself because her father was trying to make her marry his friend. And she didn't want to do that. But she couldn't necessarily turn it down, and she had to, take her life instead of going that route. Do you think this bill is going to stand the test of time, fit ground, and hold all Nigerians accountable?
Earlier on in the program, I said what we have laws in Nigeria. What we lack is enforcement. That is what we lack for the most part. Enforcement, or we lay down rules and regulations. Now, when it comes to the topic of people's faiths and the customs and tradition, I've already stated this. The Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria has a constitution. There is a laid down law for how Nigerians should behave in Nigeria.
Okay.
When any other sets of rules and regulations and customs and traditions are in disagreement to what is laid down in the Constitution, the Constitution should hold more water, should hold more weight, should hold more gravity, should be more impactful to the conversation.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it seems like we don't necessarily practice that. We don't give the Constitution the respect we should accord it as citizens or as per enforcement agents. So the laid down age is 18. Anybody that does anything contrary is in fact opposing the Constitution of Nigeria, and there should in fact be consequences for such an action.
Right, including child marriage. When you weigh all of this, is child marriage included? Should we include the clause of child marriage? Marrying a child, does that now necessarily, would this bill be enforced if a 40-year-old man, for example, a 25-year-old man, for example, goes ahead to marry a minor? From this report,
I believe it.
Do you think this bill is going to be enforced? Or this bill is just for raping minors and not for people that marry minors?
That's a very interesting distinction to make. Because I believe they are not exactly separated. Because like Adam Oshomole said, at that age, they are not able to give consent.
Absolutely.
They are not able to give consent. So any intimate act engaged in with someone that cannot give consent is in fact assault,
right,
or rape. It is in fact, by definition, assault or rape. When someone cannot give consent, but we choose to go ahead and engage in such an act with such a person. So the concept of will it just be applied to child assaulters, child rapists, or people that abuse children, versus people that just get married to children? In the context of marriage, these acts will take place. It has now moved from just child marriage to harming a child. Engaging in an act with a child that the child could not consent to. So I do not believe there are different conversations. I believe it should apply across the board. The age of consent is 18. If you really want to marry that child, you wait until that child can make that decision.
Right.
And then more than likely it's going to lead to rejection. That's why they feel the need to do it when the child is so young and has no say. But then, by definition, if you are doing it when the child has no say, then you have in fact infringed upon the rules, at least this very law that has been passed by the Senate, or that is being passed by the Senate.